morning. You're listening to The Brief Wake Up, your mindful start to the day. I am Handel, your daily coffee companion, helping you wake up informed, thoughtful, and maybe just a little amused before the day gets old. If you're commuting, corralling kids, or just standing in line for caffeine, you're in the right place. Let's get you caught up. This morning, for our health, we are talking about a food that looks strange, smells strong, and might just be one of the healthiest things you could ever eat. Natto. If you've never seen it, natto is a traditional Japanese dish made from fermented soybeans. It's sticky, stringy, and famously pungent, the kind of food that separates the bold from the curious. But behind that funky reputation lies a nutritional powerhouse that's earned its place as a true superfood. Let's start with the basics: protein and probiotics. Natto packs nearly 18 grams of complete plant protein in a single serving. And because it's fermented, your body can absorb it more easily than from regular soy. But the real magic comes from the bacteria that do the fermenting: Bacillus subtilis. These tiny microbes help balance your gut microbiome, improve digestion, and even strengthen your immune system. Think of them as live-in maintenance workers for your digestive tract. Now here's where natto really sets itself apart. Vitamin K2. It's one of the richest natural sources on Earth. Vitamin K2 directs calcium exactly where it should go, into your bones and teeth, instead of your arteries. That means stronger bones and a healthier heart. Studies in Japan even link regular natto consumption to lower rates of osteoporosis in older adults. And speaking of heart health, natto produces a special enzyme which has been shown to help dissolve small blood clots and support healthy circulation. Some researchers think it may even help lower blood pressure naturally. So, what you've got in one humble bowl of beans is a combination of gut health, heart protection, bone strength, and anti-inflammatory power. All from a food that most people outside Japan have never even tried. Now, fair warning, natto's smell and texture take some getting used to. But if you mix it with soy sauce, mustard, or green onions and spoon it over rice, it starts to make sense. And maybe, just maybe, you'll understand why millions of Japanese people swear by it as their morning staple. Bottom line, natto might not win any beauty contests, but it's one of the most scientifically backed superfoods in the world. Proof that sometimes the healthiest things come in the most unexpected packages. The news is next. This morning in the news. Yesterday, the Federal Reserve just made its final move of the year, and it's one that affects nearly every wallet in America. The Fed announced it's cutting interest rates by 0.25%, bringing the new target range down to 3.5 to 3.75%. That's the third rate cut of 2025, and it comes as signs grow that the economy is losing some steam. Job growth has slowed, unemployment has ticked up, and inflation, while lower than last year, is still hanging around more than the Fed would like. In its statement, the Fed said it's shifting into watch and wait mode, meaning they'll hold off on any more cuts until they see how the economy reacts. In other words, don't expect another round of cheap borrowing anytime soon. So, what does this mean for you? Well, borrowing just got a little cheaper. Rates on credit cards, auto loans, and home equity lines will likely dip slightly. Mortgage rates might follow, though not immediately, since they depend on broader market factors like bond yields. If you're carrying high interest debt, this could be a small dose of relief. But there's a flip side. Savers will feel the squeeze. Banks tend to lower what they pay on savings accounts and CDs when rates fall. So those earning 5% or more on high-yield savings may soon see that number slip. And here's an interesting note. The Fed was split on this decision. Some officials argued the economy is still too strong to justify cuts, while others pushed for an even larger one. That division signals uncertainty ahead about whether the next move will be another cut or a pause. For now, the message is simple. The Fed's walking a tightrope trying to prevent a slowdown without reigniting inflation. And while Wall Street cheered the news, Main Street may only feel small ripples, a little breathing room on borrowing, but not enough to call it easy money. Bottom line, the era of ultra-low rates isn't coming back anytime soon, but today's move is a nod that the Fed sees clouds gathering. And as always, where the Fed goes, your wallet follows. Tech and culture is next. For tech and culture, we will discuss luxury, necessity, and the economics of the season. It's shopping season, that glittering stretch where human behavior and economics collide like reindeer on a Black Friday runway. And buried inside all that spending are two powerful and opposing economic forces, Veblen goods and Giffen goods. Together, they explain why some of us chase luxury, while others just try to get through December. Veblen goods are the luxuries people want because they're expensive. The higher the price, the stronger the pull. It's not about need, it's about signal. Thorstein Veblen, the economist who coined the term conspicuous consumption, noticed that wealth has its own grammar, and price is its punctuation. A Rolex, a Birkin, or a limited sneaker drop doesn't just say, "I bought this." It says, "I can." That's the strange beauty of luxury. Scarcity creates desire, and desire creates status. In that world, a discount can feel like disrespect. But at the other end of the spectrum are Giffen goods, a mirror image of the same rule, born not from privilege, but from pressure. They're the things people buy more of when prices go up, because they can't afford anything else. Bread, rice, potatoes. When a staple gets pricier, families often cut back on meat, fruit, or variety, and double down on the basics. Economists call it the poverty paradox. Sometimes inflation forces us to consume more of what we already have too much of, just to survive. So, this time of year, as we scroll through flash sales and limited editions, it's worth pausing for a little perspective. We're not all shopping on the same wavelength. For some, December is about signaling success, a new watch, a statement coat, or the right brand on your feet. For others, it's about keeping lights on, finding the best deal on essentials, or making sure there's still something left for a family dinner. That's the quiet truth hiding behind all the glossy marketing. The holidays amplify both instincts, status, and survival. Luxury and necessity coexist in the same economy, the same malls, even the same families. So maybe the real gift this season is perspective, knowing that while we all love giving and getting, not everyone has the same margin for joy or the same price of comfort. Because at the end of the day, the most meaningful exchange isn't found in a sale, it's found in empathy. The lighter roast is next. For the lighter roast, we are discussing the empty chair. Every family table has its own rhythm. The sound of dishes passing, stories retold, and laughter that fills the room. But sometimes, what stands out most isn't the noise. It's the silence, the empty chair, the person who should be there but isn't. Maybe it's someone we lost, someone far away, or someone who drifted out of our lives. And suddenly, a table that's full still feels incomplete. The holidays have a quiet way of bringing that feeling to the surface. not with dramatic moments, but in the small ones, the pause before a toast, the familiar recipe someone taught us, the seat we keep setting out of habit. Grief doesn't always arrive with tears. Sometimes it shows up as a memory we're not sure what to do with. But here's what helps. Don't hide the empty chair. Acknowledge it. Say their name. Share the story that still makes everyone smile. Because remembering doesn't reopen the wound. It honors the place that person still holds in the family. And love doesn't disappear when people do. It just changes shape. It becomes the way we speak about them, the traditions we keep alive, the moments when their voice echoes in our own. They're not gone from the table, not entirely. They're woven into the way we gather. So, if there's an empty chair at your table this year, don't rush past it. Sit beside it for a moment. Let it remind you of the depth of what you felt and the way that love still lives in you, in your home, and in the people who are here today. The chair may be empty, but the love that occupied it never is. Our commemoration is next. Today is December 11th, and here are the moments worth remembering. First, UNICEF was founded on this day in 1946. Born in the aftermath of World War II, its mission was simple but profound: protect children caught in crisis. Nearly 8 decades later, UNICEF is still one of the most important lifelines for children around the world. On this day in 2001, the Lockerbie verdict was delivered. Libyan intelligence officer Abdelbasset al-Megrahi was convicted for the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103, a tragedy that claimed 270 lives and reshaped global aviation security. It remains one of the most significant terrorism cases in modern history. December 11th is also the anniversary of Disney's The Jungle Book, released in 1967. It was the last animated feature personally overseen by Walt Disney, and it gave us songs like Bare Necessities and I Wanna Be Like You, classics that still feel like childhood. In 1927, Bank of America took form, evolving from the Bank of Italy in San Francisco into what would become one of the largest financial institutions in the world. And in 1936, the first Baseball Hall of Fame ballot was released. Names like Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and Honus Wagner appeared on that very first list, the beginning of a tradition that defines America's pastime. And finally, it is National Noodle Ring Day. Because history is heavy, but there's always room for something light on the plate. That's December 11th. Moments that shape the world, and a reminder to savor the small ones too. This morning we explored how the boldest foods, the biggest economic decisions, and the quietest family moments all reveal something about what we value. From Natto's surprising power to strengthen our bodies, to the Fed's attempt to steady the economy, to the empty chair that reminds us of who we still carry with us. Today was all about nourishment, in every sense. As we move through the season, may we stay mindful of what feeds us in our health, our choices, and the love that never leaves the table. This is Handel for the brief wake-up. Remember to stay calm, curious and kind, and top off that cup. I'll catch you next time.